Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. What a delight to have back with us today Erich Pratt. He is the Director of Communications for Gun Owners of America. And we're all trying to figure out just what happened in Chattanooga and could have had it been prevented, had those gentlemen been armed, and the whole issue about gun control and gun ownership. Hi, Erich. Good to see you again. How you doing, my friend?
Doing real well. Thanks, Perry, for having me back.
Yeah, you bet. Wow. So much with this story in Chattanooga because now we're hearing reports that maybe two of the military men perhaps were armed. Have you heard that? Is that true? Can you verify that?
Well, they're still trying to verify that. It appears that that may have been the case, and it also appears that it's possible that one of them actually was the one to stop the attack. Because we know that the gunman was shot and killed. It's still a question as to who did it. This raises a very interesting questions, obviously, because if these servicemen were armed, they were most likely armed illegally because there is a ban on military bases for all servicemen. They cannot carry weapons unless they're military police. So it effectively is a gun-free zone, just like classic cities like New York City and other cities where, yeah, they have police, but the average potential victim is not allowed to carry a firearm for self-defense. But here it may be that actually what cut the attack short may have been one of the potential victims firing back, which is exactly what we've been arguing all along. That's the way you have to stop these things before it gets to be 10, 12, 15 people being killed. And thankfully, there are now at least 3 legislators in the Congress who have rushed bills to introduction to say that this military gun ban cannot stand, that we need to repeal this Clinton-era gun ban that really is endangering the lives of many servicemen.
That's an interesting argument, Erich, because here they are highly trained to handle a weapon. They're not allowed to carry it on a military base, which is just staggering. And now you have these recruitment centers out there, which are going to be targets. Isn't it interesting that maybe the military installations may be the crack that we've been looking for to arm the citizenry again?
Yes. Yeah, after the Fort Hood shootings a couple years ago, one of the servicemen who survived the attacks was just outraged that they're not allowed to carry firearms. And he said, the irony is I have relatives here in Texas. And he said, when they go to the Walmart, they're better armed than I am when I go shopping at the commissary. He said, that's not right. They were interviewing a wife, I think it was CNN, interviewing a wife of a survivor, and her husband was going to be shipped off to either Afghanistan or Iraq. And she said, well, at least when he gets there, he'll be able to carry firearms for self-defense. What an irony. Why is that? This just comes down to not trusting people to be able to handle firearms and protect themselves. But as you were pointing out, how crazy is that when these are people who've actually been trained in the use of firearms?
Now, have you kept any kind of a record, Erich, on just how many attacks we've had on in military gun-free zones? I know they want to call them domestic terrorists. I mean, they're just terrorists. Come on, let's get over some of this political junk. But the point is, have you kind of kept track on just how bad this is on some of these military installations?
Well, certainly both Fort Hood shootings were gun-free zones. And by the way, both shooters passed background checks in getting their firearms. The Navy Yard shooter passed the background check in getting his firearm. That was also a gun-free zone. This killer here at the Navy Reserve Center and the Recruitment Center also, that gunman passed background checks in getting his firearm. Did you see the common theme here? Background checks aren't stopping bad guys from getting guns, but certainly posting a sign in front of an area or a building saying no guns are allowed in here doesn't stop people from carrying guns into there. If they're going to break the law by murdering people, they're certainly not going to pay attention to a sign. By the way you do stop these types of things from occurring is allowing the potential victims to be able to fire back. And even this year, we've seen many mass shootings that were attempted but were nipped in the bud. There was one in Chicago where an Uber driver, ironically enough, with a concealed carry permit, used his gun, shot the guy 6 times. He was starting to shoot into a crowd. Around that time, there was in a Philadelphia barbershop a guy who shot and killed somebody who was beginning to open fire on people there in the barbershop. The police said this guy saved countless people. In fact, this week, a year ago, you might remember the Darby shooting at the hospital in Pennsylvania. And there, a doctor used his concealed carry firearm to stop what police said would have been a massacre, as this guy was just going to walk down the halls shooting people. By the way, that guy was a prohibited person, wasn't allowed to own guns. But again, laws banning people from getting guns don't stop them from getting guns. The way you stop this is by allowing the potential victims to protect themselves and others.
By the way, to our viewers and listeners, gunowners.org is the website for Gun Owners of America, gunowners.org. Great resource. Erich, so do you think now, it appears to me that at the congressional level, House and the Senate, we may have the votes to get a bill going. I can't imagine that this president's going to sign anything, but nonetheless, this whole argument now gets put back on the table. You think it will gain the needed momentum?
I do, and I think it's imperative for people to encourage their congressmen and senators to co-sponsor these bills. Bills are being introduced by Representative Desjardins of Tennessee, Duncan Hunter of California, and then Senator Steve Daines as well of Montana. So these are very important bills to get their appropriate legislators, senators, representatives to co-sponsor these bills. I think it's also important that we encourage those representatives and senators to demand from the leadership that they get a vote on this legislation, because I think there is momentum there, Perry, but sadly, this is the type of thing that I could see Boehner or McConnell sitting on. And so it's very important that the legislators themselves start demanding the vote. As far as getting it by the president, we have gotten other gun ban repeals by him. And there's strategy and ways of doing that. You put it on appropriation bills. So, I don't think we should worry right now about what the president will do, because I think it's very possible we could get this on must-pass legislation that he will end up signing.
That's great. Now, do you think it'll rise to presidential campaign issue level?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it already has. Several of the candidates have already come out. I just off the top of my head, I've heard Cruz talking about this, Rubio. Donald Trump has demanded repeal of the gun-free zones on the military bases. So it's definitely become a campaign issue, and rightfully so, because this was started at the presidential level. It was actually a presidential directive during the Clinton era. And so, certainly President Obama could unilaterally repeal it. I don't think that's going to happen. That's why Congress is going to have to do this and make this the law of the land.
I know this is a little hypothetical at the moment, Erich, but let's suppose the servicemen who fired back did deliver the killing bullet to the gunman himself who was doing the shooting. Now, this is an interesting thing. He would have been packing his own personal weapon in a gun-free zone. How does this play out legally?
Well, legally, now, sadly, one of the ones that they think, actually may have delivered the fatal shot, himself died from wounds from the gunman. So, I would hope that we wouldn't see something so crass as giving him, his dishonorable discharge, after he's deceased. That would truly be tragic. I don't think we're going to see. But if he were still alive, that would raise interesting legal questions, because he would have been violating official policy. But I guess that's a theoretical question we're really not going to have to face, sadly, because he ended up dying during the attack.
Oh. Well, Erich, thank you for you and your organization and all that you're doing. And let me again say to our viewers and listeners, support this organization. You can go to gunowners.org and they do a great job in protecting and advancing your Second Amendment rights. Thanks, my friend. Keep up the good work, buddy. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Sure will.
Okay.
Thank you, Perry. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Eric. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Welcome back, and what a delight to have back with us Dr. Richard Land. He's president of the Southern Evangelical Seminary and now becoming a regular here on the Dove television network, and we want to talk to him today about the recent exposure of Planned Parenthood. Dr. Land, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
Well, it's good to see you. I wish you could be under more pleasant circumstances.
Yes, sir. I have never been more repulsed. I think we've all known and supposed that this kind of activity was going on within Planned Parenthood. But my friend, doesn't this provide the opportunity for us to repeal Roe versus Wade?
Well, I don't know. We can't repeal Roe versus Wade. That has to be done by the Supreme Court. But I think at the very least, this should be the death knell of any public funding for Planned Parenthood or any abortion enterprise in the United States. And it should be the beginning of the end for abortion on demand in America. This shows the ugly, savage, barbaric underbelly of the abortion industry, and it shows the extent to which their moral compass has been totally demagnetized. I mean, to me, the selling of the body parts is horrific, but it pales in comparison to the casual and completely emotionless nature with which these two doctors, women. Now, you know, at the risk of being accused of being sexist here, I still have a little higher expectation of women morally than I do of men. These are mothers or potential mothers just casually talking about dismembering our smallest human beings in order to harvest their body parts. It's just barbaric, savage, and grotesque and ghoulish.
You know, they don't want us to use ultrasound to see if a woman is pregnant, but they use ultrasound to see the condition of the baby so that they can harvest the parts. How hypocritical is that?
Well, there's not any part of the abortion industry that's not hypocritical. You know, I mean, they call it pro-choice, but there's no choice for the baby. The one person who dies has no choice in the matter. They're an utter and complete victim. They are. I heard one, hopefully good sign, a Democratic counselor to the president, a former one, said, you know, it's a sad commentary and it should disturb us as Americans that we're more interested in the body parts of tiny human beings than we are in the human beings themselves.
All right. Now, John Boehner said he's going to launch an investigation. Rhetoric, or do you think something will come out of this?
No, I think, frankly, first of all, I think that either now or after the 2016 election, you will see the defunding of Planned Parenthood, at the very least. This question is going to be asked of every Democratic candidate for office, not just president, but senator, governor, congressman, state senator. How do you feel about Planned Parenthood? Do you think that what Planned Parenthood is doing is okay? Do you think that federal and state money should be going to Planned Parenthood?
Well, it's going to put them in a box.
And do you take contributions from Planned Parenthood? That's the other question. Are you getting contributions from Planned Parenthood, and why haven't you returned them?
Yeah, wow, good stuff. We'll have to just wait and see. Dr. Land, let me tug on your pastoral heart just for a moment.
Yes.
Do you think this will finally resonate among pastors to say something from the American pulpits? I mean, this goes to the core of creation. This is, of all the things God created, it was the human being that he created in his likeness and his image. I mean, if there's ever an opportunity for the American church to stand up what would be perceived as a political issue, but really as a spiritual issue, this would be it.
Yeah, this is a basic moral issue. This is a basic moral issue of right and wrong. I would say that for the pastors whose moral compass has not been completely demagnetized by moral relativity, yes, it will. If they haven't been galvanized, they will be galvanized, and so will their parishioners. I believe that this has the potential to be the Uncle Tom's Cabin of the abortion industry. As you know, Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin that Abraham Lincoln widely credited with electing him and starting the Civil War, because it put a human face on the horrors and the abuses and the savagery of slavery. These videos, and there are more coming, I understand, these videos provide the human face, the ugly, vicious, nasty, ghoulish human face of the abortion industry. And I think that a significant portion of the American people are going to be sufficiently repulsed by it that there are going to be significantly increased restrictions on abortion, because they're going to vote for people who will enforce those restrictions and vote against people who won't.
All right, so if you're a lawyer for Planned Parenthood, how in the world do you spin this one?
You don't. All you can do is go into damage control. You can call in every favor that you have from your millions of dollars of contributions. You ask senators who are not up for re-election in 2016 to come out and support you. You do everything you can to get Hillary Clinton to come out and support you. You do everything you can to get Barack Obama to come out and support you. You call in your chits. You call in your IOUs from your millions and millions of dollars of contributions and try to minimize the damage. You call in your favors with the media to try to minimize the damage. The New York Times, for instance, today had a front page article attacking the method by which, the surreptitious and dishonest method by which these videos were obtained, rather than the content of the videos. That's called, when you can't win the argument, shoot the messenger.
The cavalier attitude, as you mentioned before, of both these doctors sitting there eating a salad, sipping red wine, and selling body parts. I mean, we're so desensitized. It's a level, I still can't get my head around it. I just can't get my head around it.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of interviews that I've seen with convicted Nazi war criminals who just seem to have absolutely no moral revulsion to what they had done. They talked about the gas chambers matter-of-factly. They talked about genocide and horrible brutalities just as matter-of-factly as you and I would talk about painting a fence.
Dr. Lant, isn't this equivalent evil to ISIS, cutting off people's heads?
Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. Every abortion, every one of the nearly 60 million abortions in the United States since 1973 has stopped a beating heart. Every one of those was a human being for whom God had a plan and a purpose. Now, I know you've been asked this. I've been asked this. Where's the next Ronald Reagan? Where's the next Abraham Lincoln? Where's the next Billy Graham? Well, perhaps we aborted them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. Let me go to your website, ses.edu, and I understand that your seminary is coming out, or has, a smartphone app. Tell us about that quickly.
Yes, sir. We have a free smartphone app that will allow you to get the best of the last 20 years of our apologetics conference speakers. Plus, you get me every day if you want me for 2 minutes. I have a commentary on the news called Bringing Every Thought Captive. And I've been doing that for over a year now, and it comes on live every morning, and then they're archived. So you can go back and search by subject and see what I've had to say about different issues whenever you have time.
Well, thank you, my friend, for what you do. Thank you for your warrior spirit in this behalf. I would hope that the faith community really rallies. I mean, if there's ever a time for us to show up, we've been given this opportunity. We need to keep the pressure on our legislators and see what we can do to defund Planned Parenthood. Hopefully we can. But this president said he wasn't do it.
Let me leave your viewers and other believers with this thought. If not this, what?
Yeah.
If not now, when? If not you, who?
Thank you, Dr. Lamb.
Thank you.
God bless you. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Welcome back. There you go. We are with Bryan Platt today, and what a follow-up to Dr. Richard Land and all that's been happening with the exposure of Planned Parenthood. Bryan heads up Jackson County Right to Life and one of the warriors in this cause for many, many years. He and I probably will share a jail cell one of these days. We've been real close.
We've been close, but it may happen, Perry.
We laugh now. But listen, a couple things quickly before we get into some of these heavy arguments. You're at the Jackson County Fair. What an incredible opportunity. Today's the opening day. You must go by the Jackson County Right to Life booth and...
Okay, so first of all, Right to Life is an educational organization. Mm-hmm. That's the whole mission. That's our whole purpose. And there's no better venue for us to meet and engage the public in the pro-life educational process than at that county fair.
Yeah.
So, and we've, as we were talking just before we went on, Perry, there are so many issues in the forefront of the scene today. So we have that information at the fair booth. We have little things like pro-life pencils and balloons and little tiny babies in a blanket for the kids. Love to see people come out there.
The little feet.
Yeah, we've got tons of the little precious feet and precious hands. We're in I guess it's not called the Compton Arena anymore, but the big building where they have the rodeos and stuff, and we're up on the concrete deck on the north side. Love to see people come by the booth, and we're still trying to sell some of our raffle tickets for our fundraiser.
All right, $10, and your name goes in the hat for a $1,000 drawing.
$1,000 drawing, which Jerry will do
Friday,
Lord willing, and we sell those tickets day after tomorrow at 4 o'clock on his radio show. So there's somewhere, Nina tells me we have about 20 tickets left. Praise God. So we're way, towards the end here, but love to have people help us out and finish off the sale of those tickets. It's what funds our chapter's functions for an entire year's time. And just while I'm thinking of it, Perry, a great big thank you to all, well, first of all, to our donors who covered the cost of the prize. Bless their heart, because it was a net effect of giving the chapter another $1,000 and that's, even Jackson County Right to Life feels the effects of inflation in day-to-day operations. So thank you so much for that, and everybody that's bought tickets. Bless your hearts. It's encouraging to us to see those tickets go out. It's just a great experience for everybody, and we'll continue to do the work for another year.
Well, folks, part of what they do is to, as he said, is educate you on maybe what you don't know what's going on, and your kids and your children are in the balance here. These school-based health centers, it's staggering what's happening in Oregon. I guess we can get on our soapbox all day long, but bring us up to date on. There's 11 schools in Jackson County, and what's the deal? Okay,
so first of all, so the school-based health centers are actually not part of the administration of that school district. They're a separate kind of a nonprofit entity.
Adjunct, huh?
Yeah, an adjunct to the school, to the school in general. But what's happened is it's kind of a perfect storm. Okay, so to start with, the school-based health centers have, essentially their mission is the well-being, the health of the students at the school. But the state of Oregon, in their infinite wisdom, has gotten this whole thing about health, just like the whole pro-reproductive women's health thing. It's got it all convoluted. So health is now including distributing the pill, doing things that, for me, I feel the parent should at least have some knowledge is happening or have some parental involvement. So our concern is that these school-based health centers, because of laws that Oregon has in place, have basically been given free rein to conduct just a litany of various services for the well-being of the children, and not necessarily with the knowledge of the parent. And that's, I think, is the troubling aspect of this. We know that Planned Parenthood has their fingers in these school-based health centers. A lot of the curriculum and the things that go on within the larger parameter of school-based health centers is Planned Parenthood material. Their goal is to befriend these kids, make them friends. They've got a client for life if that happens.
Yeah.
So part of that, just one more little part of that, is this latest law that the state legislature passed. So now we have the law enabling the administrators of these school-based health centers to do any sort of a number of medical procedures or services to these children
Without you parents knowing.
Without the parents knowing. And now, to add injury to insult, they can bill the parents' insurance company
Without being told.
Without the parents being told that their insurance company is paying for that procedure, whatever that procedure might be.
You know, I want to ask, with all due respect, I want to ask Dr. Alan Bates why he voted for that. I'm trying to figure out what this does. How can, the state is now between you and your child. The state has voted and put into place bills that puts the state between you and your child. Let's go to this chart.
Okay, so I'm going to hold this up. Andy, are you okay on that?
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
Now, explain the chart.
Okay, so what we have here, and I realize that it's hard to see it. We're going to have one of these charts out the fair. There's a great reason for people to come by, because it's a jaw dropper. When we first saw this graphic on the internet, it literally was a jaw dropper for all of us. You know, numbers are kind of dry, but something visual like this really makes an impact. So here you have a list on this side, all 50 states, in order of the legal protection for the unborn child, if you want to phrase it that way. So we start at the top with Oklahoma, 20-some various laws that restrict abortion in some fashion. And there's a number of different categories, and those are represented by the different colors. And as you get down to the very, very bottom, to the tippy top bottom, is the state of Oregon with 0, no color whatsoever. And Perry, I told you last time we were on the air, I almost felt like extending this chart down about another foot and putting Oregon down here someplace, because we've gone below the low by asking or demanding or legislating that an insurance company now, and you used the term, and I hadn't really thought of it that way, we legislated deceit. We have legislated deceit by saying, parents, you can pay for health insurance for your children, but you know what? They can go and tap into that coverage, and you'll never know.
Not only that, but look at the deceit that the legislature did between you and your insurance company. Your insurance company can be billed for a procedure that your child has received, abortion, pills, whatever, and not tell you, which could cause your premiums to go up, and you wouldn't know why. I mean, the whole thing is ludicrous. And when you see this chart, and let me encourage you, when you're out at the Jackson County Fair, would you take a few moments and study it? If anything, take your phone and take a picture of it and take it home and discuss it. That Oregon is so far down, nothing, 0 restrictions on abortion, and the state getting between you and your child. I'd like to know how a legislator could do this, especially if they're a parent.
So there are a couple of things that parents can do to help kind of get back some control of their children's well-being.
How about not signing a release form?
That is exactly it. So part of the issue here is exactly what is covered under these laws that allow these healthcare professionals to deal with your children without your consent. And it's a little ambiguous. Does it cover abortion or not? That's not been tested. But the bottom line is the school districts, in response to that, have generally been sending consent forms home with the kids at the beginning of the school year. And I would tell you, as a my kids are done, but even for my grandkids, which go to public school, is do not sign that consent form. Insist that the school or the SBHC contact you directly before they do anything to your child. That would be number one.
The other part of this mess is that, to me, what's the motive? To sexualize your children beyond control, and if they get into trouble, they have a way by which they think they can correct the problem, and makes them dependent upon those services from here on out. Did you know mixed into all of this is the whole gender issue?
Gender issue, yeah.
And mixed in all this, your child, without you knowing it, in the state of Oregon, can start the gender bender process, so to speak, without you know. They can get the hormone shots. They can begin to go down this road, have your insurance company be billed, and you not know about it. It's a raping of the family at a level that we've never seen before.
Perry, I think when you start taking all of the, this is it's the sum of all these little parts, and they've been so effective. Well, it's just this, or it's just that. And we're at this point, we're already at the bottom of the heap. And now, I'm not aware of any other state in the country that has this insurance bypass component to it. And to add injury to insult, and this is something that really gripes me, having kind of come from the political end of things a little bit, is that the state legislature declared these things emergencies, and that took away the citizens' ability to have a referendum on the issue. And I think there's an accountability issue there to these legislators beyond just the issue itself, but that's for a time for another program, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, I could comment on that, but I want to stay on focus here. Right. Again, I think the essence of what we're talking about here today, folks, as you approach the fall season, back to school, when your child comes home with a form that would give your consent for them to have medical treatment, I would highly recommend, A, you look at it very carefully, and B, probably not sign it. I realize that might take some counsel, might take some investigation, but the state now has literally put itself in a position to get you between you and your child.
The other thing, Perry, there is an organization up in Portland, a nonprofit. Lori Porter heads it up. It's called Parents' Rights in Education, and its specific mission is to empower parents with the legal information that they need so that they can continue to have control of their kids. So,
and that's Parents' Rights in ED.
In ed.net.
Yeah, Parents' Rights in ed.net. All right, we'll take a break when we come back. And let me just say, really, I think parents, you have a responsibility to inform yourself of this stuff. And here's an organization that's done its homework for you. parentsrightined.net. Well, Bryan, we have seen a couple of videos in the last couple of days. It's been pretty shaking, and I want to get your comments on those coming up.
Might have the kids leave the room.
Okay, we're going to show a video, but
the discussion is going to be
pretty graphic. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I work at theDove TV. Compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at theDove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Okay, we're back, and Bryan Platt's with us. He's the Executive Director of Jackson County Right to Life. And again, if you're at the Jackson County Fair, which opens today, let me encourage you to go to their booth, support them, take a look at it. There are only about 20 raffle tickets left. Buy one of those. But we have all been shaken to our core Now, we have suspected this, and we've heard rumors of this, but now it's been verified that Planned Parenthood is harvesting baby parts for money. And there's so much tied into this. But Bryan, first of all, before we show this short little video, when you heard this, what were you thinking?
Well, Perry, we had Mark Crutcher on this program 10 years ago, actually probably 15 years ago. And they were the ones that at first brought this to light, and it was as the result of Christ Hospital in Chicago, Illinois, delivering babies that had been, the mothers had signed off for abortion, delivering the babies live to harvest their organs so that they were fresh. And then it just goes away. And there's an agenda there. And the political process is corrupted. Planned Parenthood gives millions to keep these politicians in office. And it's these the use of human tissue for research is a legitimate legislated business.
Now we have evidence that it's happening. Who knows where this is going to go legally? The first thing that could come out of this is the defunding of Planned Parenthood, which we all hope would be the case.
A very good first step.
But here's the thing, that the evilness of it is the cavalier attitude of the two so far that we've seen on video. You want to set up this one that we're looking at?
I think that was, you know, because I was already aware that this was happening, but I think her attitude, this is Dr. Deborah Nucatola, who's Planned Parenthood's Senior Director of Medical Services. So in spite of what Cecile Richards said in her apology, if you want to call it that this was a staff member, okay, to try to minimize her authority and seniority in the structural flow of Planned Parenthood, this woman's at the top of the heap with respect to this particular aspect, the surgical aspect of abortion and the ramifications. So I think you'll be shocked if you haven't seen it, but I think we should just watch that little clip real quick, and then we can go from there.
Let me just say to some of you, this could be offensive, and if you have some children, you may want to scoot them out of the room. But this is one of the videos that's been circulating as a result of Planned Parenthood.
What price range would you? You know, I'm going to throw a number out. I would say it's probably anywhere from $30 to $100, depending on the facility and what's involved.
The $30 to $100 price, that's per specimen that we're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yes. So then you're just kind of cognizant of where you put your breast first. You try to intentionally go above and below the thorax so that, you know, we've been very good at getting heart, lung, liver, because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and I'm going to see that get out intact.
We're very good at getting hearts and lungs and tissues. Okay, as gruesome as this is, the cavalier attitude of sitting there eating a salad, sipping red wine, selling body parts like it's no big deal. All right, this has hit the fan. What's next?
Well, okay, so let's back up a little bit. Again, the use of human tissues for research is legal. And I almost think, Perry, that if you watch a lot of the response to this, they're focusing on the profitability aspect of the selling of the tissues. And that's an issue. Okay, so the way it works, there's kind of three steps. You have the abortionist, in this case it's Planned Parenthood. Then you have the organization that is kind of the middleman that actually does the harvesting of the tissues. They're the ones that actually are allowed to make a profit on the sale of those tissues. But between Planned Parenthood and the what I call the dissector, because honestly that's what they're doing, is they're dissecting these little baby bodies and taking out these organs that are of value to the research facilities. And that's where actually the price list, so we have a price list from Planned Parenthood to the dissectors, to these organizations like this STEM something or other, a STEM Express LLC. Okay, they're the ones that get the tissues. They in turn sell them at a profit to universities, biotech places that actually do the research. And that's where these prices, unborn body part prices in the past have been an intact trunk, $600, eyes, $75, brains, $999, limbs, $150 a pair, livers, $150, kidneys, $125, spleens, $75, hearts and lungs, $150, bone marrow, $350. We've made our babies a commodity. So the issue is, it's against the law for Planned Parenthood to make a profit on the collecting of the tissues. So how do they get around that? Or that particular issue is, technically, the abortion clinic donates the fetal material to the wholesaler. Once after the tissues are donated, the biggest, let's see, I got to find the right spot here. They are billed. Let me flip to the next page here. I want to make sure I get this right. The wholesaler cleverly bills the research facility for retrieval costs, which cover all operational expenses plus profits. The mother is the only one not to share in the profit from her baby's body parts. So there's this web that goes from the woman giving her baby up for abortion to research facilities that are paying $9.99 for an intact brain. But for myself, since that's been going on, and to some extent or another it's legal, regardless of the ethical issues there, which obviously are legion, it was this woman's attitude. And the following video, which was released just the other day, and that was Mary Gatter, who's the medical director of Planned Parenthood in Pasadena, but she's also the president of the Medical Directors Council for Planned Parenthood. So in other words, the medical directors of all the regional Planned Parenthoods, which were there quite a number in the United States, she's the president of that organization. So another very high up individual doing the same thing, talking about the prices that the gatherer of the tissues will pay Planned Parenthood, and at the end she says, I want a Lamborghini. They're talking about the prices. You talk about hardened, depraved hearts. I don't think it gets worse than that.
Let me say, thank you, Lord, for these videos coming to light. This sets in motion not only the evilness of Planned Parenthood as an organization, by the way, which is being funded by millions, hundreds of millions of your tax dollars.
Over 500 million per year. That's over $1 million a day.
I'm in like you are. Not only am I in shock, but I'm trying to process this and where it may go. And we know that Congress is looking at some kind of investigation, and Dr. Land thought it probably would rise to being presidential campaign issues, because you got to throw this in the face of Democratic people who have received these dollars from Planned Parenthood and support Planned Parenthood. So
now understand, and this is the web that we're dealing with here, that Gatter serves on an Obama administration committee of some sort. So there's a lot of interconnectedness there, and the press conferences where the reporters have brought this up, it's been summarily dismissed. They don't want anything, they don't want any talk about it and whatnot. And I think the focus has been trying to obfuscate the barbarity of the whole abortion issue with this issue of profitability. And to me,
well, they're going to use the taking of life to prolong life by research and development.
Sure.
That's the hypocrisy of it. There's another part of this. If you go all the way back down to getting your child sexually active, so your daughter becomes pregnant so that they can have the abortion to sell the baby parts. It's a machine. But why this video or these videos now, and Dr. Land said, you said, and others are saying, it looks like there's a sequence more to come out. So somebody behind the scenes here, in a very covert way, has gotten together and picked up these videos to expose what's really going on here. And you can only thank God that it's happening.
I absolutely agree.
Okay.
I mean, this stuff needs to, the public has such a short memory.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's this don't bother me. You know, I've got my life to lead and bills to pay and these kinds of things. And then we just get smacked in the head with something as intense as this, and it kind of brings back what's really important out there.
Well, 55 to 60 million babies since 1973 have been aborted, killed, no heartbeat, dead, gone, never saw the light of day. And many of those babies were dismantled and their parts sold. So I can't help but think that as we're thanking the Lord that this is being exposed, on the spiritual side of me is saying to me, all right, America, it could be that God is saying, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? Now I'm exposing it for what it really is. And as the faith community, you're going to step up and step in and stop it and demand our legislators to defund this. If we don't, we may have missed the spiritual opportunity of our lifetime to put God's blessing back on this country. Because I think everything in America hinges on this issue. We stop killing babies, God will bless America again.
I absolutely agree with you.
I can't. That's just where I am.
So, you know, it's kind of a what do we do thing. Our prayers can be in a number of areas with respect to this issue. I mean, obviously, we pray that abortion was stopped, and you know, the Christian community, presumably at least, has been praying for that since way back when. But now we can pray that hearts will be opened, because of the shock value. I mean, that's kind of the kind of thing it takes anymore for us when we've got this shield around us where we just are trying to survive and we're just going on from day to day. Now we have this shock value thing that's just made us have to open our eyes. Let's hope that some of these legislators, Greg Walden sent out a newsletter saying that he was looking to these congressional investigations because of the barbarity of it. I was just blessed by that, to see that Greg's, you know, on top of that thing. Let's not let it get covered over like it was in 1999 and 2000 with the Life Dynamics expose, which in some respects was almost more heart-rending than this, except we didn't have that video of that hardened, depraved heart that could sit there and have lunch and talk about these baby parts like they're just, you know, a six-pack of Coca-Cola and a loaf of bread going out the door.
Well, it's just shocking. It's amazing. But it's also the golden opportunity that we've been waiting for to shut this organization down and to hopefully for the faith community to wake up and say, wait a minute, we've allowed this to happen under our watch. Now God's providing the opportunity for us to stop it, and we ought to do it. And but Bryan, it's taken this to get us. To wake us up. To what's going on.
Let's not miss the. I mean, let's not miss the opportunity. Let's not. You know, and we will have stuff on this out at the Fair booth, Perry.
All right. Let me just say that we're going to run out of time. Check out the Fair booth. Also, check out all the information about these school-based health clinics. They're not in the Department of Education. They're an adjunct, kind of like a contractor sitting on the outside.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
And if you sign that health release, your kid goes over there, and guess what? Your insurance company's going to get billed, and you're not going to know about it. Let's get your kids pregnant so Planned Parenthood can kill the baby and sell the parts. That's what's happening. When are we going to say enough is enough, and we're going to stop it? Thank you, Bryan, for what you do. Go out to the Fair booth, buy up. How many tickets you got left?
About 20. We could sure use your help in getting those taken care of.
They're only $10 a piece. Go out there and grab them. Thanks, buddy. Good to see you.
Barry.
All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim and I work at theDove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.